fish. These are some things that you need to think about. Now, with that being said, I also change up my proteins. I don't stick with any one protein. It's kind of like if I want my immune system to be strong, I have to expose myself to different things. When I go to an area, if I'm having a problem with allergies, I'll try to look for a local source of honey, which has most of what's in that particular area. And I will put honey in my tea, put honey on toast and stuff like that, and help build up my strength there. If I was to do just one thing, then my system would not be able to handle all those different things coming at me. Kind of like if you are a vegetarian and somebody says, here, eat this cheeseburger. You would not have a real good day after that. Food toppers. There's a lot of things that I will do for foods on special occasions. Like for instance, let's say I have a German Shorthair Pointer and I'm feeding my normal feeding whatever it is, but today we're gonna go out and do some field work. I wanna give that dog a little bit more, so if I'm gonna give it a little bit more, I might not necessarily just do the same kibble and raw. What I may do is something that's a little bit more on the higher end. I may go to like a food topper of using the Northwest Natural. I would very rarely feed Northwest Natural as a main food source because it's so expensive. But if I'm gonna do a special event or a show, I'll use that as a topper. Most of the time, if I'm going to do a topper, I'm gonna find something that is not an organ meat, because an organ meat is, although those are great for treats, but not necessarily good to feed those organ meats, because that's pretty rich and you can develop some loose stools if you go too much on those organ meats right there. If I have a GSP and it's going to be out there doing a lot of work, I may go to, and it's an adult, I may go to a super high protein food as a food topper on there. But as we'll get into proteins, I want to keep that protein level low if it's not working, because high protein will burn coat and also is tough on their kidneys. So you want to make sure they're drinking lots of water too. Mackerel is one of the big go-tos for me, more than sardines. I'm sorry, I don't know why. But the stuff that I'm teaching you here are things that I've actually used on strings of dogs and actually seen a noticeable difference. And so I'll give you some suggestions of how much to use later on. But mackerel gives me good muscle, good tone, great skin, great coat, good nails, unfortunately, but it helps out in all those areas. Papaya is phenomenal. Papaya is a natural digestive enzyme, and what I normally do with papaya is, if I can find it fresh, I will get a papaya, skin it, and I will cube it into bite-sized pieces for whatever that breed is. So obviously a TFT chunk is going to be a much smaller square than a Newfoundland would be.
So is this info in our book?
This is not in your book.
Okay. We'll
Yeah,
take a
so take a picture of this.
Yes.
So,
Are papayas easy to find?
papaya is not easy to find. And so when you do find it, cut it up, put it in a freezer bag, feed it as treats throughout the day, and then that works great for the digestive system. So all the money you're spending on supplements and good food doesn't go in the mouth and out the other end when you're feeding the papaya. If you can't find fresh papaya, then go to like a vitamin store and get papaya powder. But it will always be better if you can get the fresh stuff.
Little Mexican grocery store.
Yeah, they have papaya. Okay, anime. I've been doing a lot of research as far as kibble goes, and anime has definitely risen to the top. One of the people who recommended I look in this direction is actually the nutritionist for Northwest Natural. So this is their competitor, and she said what she feeds her dogs for a kibble is anime. So when you have the competitor recommending that, then that should give you some weight right there. The website that's listed there, if you go to that website, you can spend an entire day learning about different proteins, also in getting food that is a low ash. What this means is that if you were to burn that food source right there, how much would be left over after everything burned? A low ash food would means that everything would be used as a fuel and nothing would be left, or very little would be left. Some of these foods, if you were to burn them, it would, you would burn a pound and 6 pounds would be left over. Where a low ash food, you burn that and it's just a little teeny tiny bit of waste stuff that the body cannot process. And it gives you all the information about looking for proper things like that. The other one I like is the Northwest Naturals, because again, they have so many different varieties to choose from as far as proteins go. Duck necks, turkey necks, green lip mussels, shrimp, minnows, all kinds of different things that you can use. And so it's great for training. You don't have to refrigerate it. It makes an excellent topper. And then the new one is the St. Rocco's treats. Once I started using those, the dogs seem to just really, really like these. And it's nice enough for St. Rocco's, just starting off here, to give you guys that 20% discount. And it used to be a 20% discount your initial buy, but they have extended that, so every time you order, they will give you that 20% discount. St. Rocco's, it's easiest to just go off to their website and do that with that code. But the other ones, like Northwest Natural, if you find a local food boutique place, they all have access to distributors that they can get any flavor of anything that you want. You just have to go to the website and say, hey, I want this. And most of them will order on Tuesdays, and by Thursdays it'll be delivered. So don't get discouraged if you walk into a place and it's not readily available. You can have them order that for you. And if they won't, go find a place that will. The anime, we've been getting our anime because Michael's on anime now on Amazon.com, or I believe that Chewy.com has that too. Or you can find that at some of your better food stores. Now, supplements and nutrition. Hey Don, can you send this to the WhatsApp group? I wrote an article on nutrition for a magazine, and Dawn's going to that's going to cover this information here, and Dawn's going to send that to your WhatsApp group. Okay, so on the right-hand side, it's going to talk a little bit about how much to give of vitamin C. Now, you're going to give half of what I'm going to list here for toy or small breeds. So at 8 weeks old, I start vitamin C in my dogs, 500 milligrams a day. So if you have a toy or small, that'd be 250. After the teeth and the ears start, like when you're teething and you start to see floppy ears and things like that, I up it to 1500 milligrams a day. And I maintain 500 milligrams until the growth plates are closed. The reason why I'm using vitamin C is because vitamin C is going to help cartilage and bone. So if I keep my bone and cartilage strong, I'm not going to have floppy ears, weak ears. I'm going to have strong teeth. I'm going to have strong jaws. I'm going to have strong bones in my legs. And it also helps prevent that easty-westy if you're going too high in your protein. The next thing I really want is flaxseed oil. And this next listing here shows the appropriate amount to give per breed, per size of breeds. So you have toy, small, medium, large, and giant breeds, and that's the teaspoon per feeding of all the ingredients, or the supplements I'm going to talk about. Flaxseed oil is a natural anti-inflammatory. You get your omegas out of that, but it really helps with the joints and keeps your dogs running nice and smooth without having that hitch in their get-along. I had a client that was a nurse, and she had an Akita, and she couldn't walk real well. She had arthritis really bad, And so she wanted to hire me as a handler. I didn't like the way the dog was walking, so I told her to start giving the dog flaxseed oil. And she said, well, why am I giving my dog flaxseed oil? When I explained this to her, that it's a natural anti-inflammatory, she started taking it herself, and then she fixed her problem, and she fired me as a handler and was able to show the dog herself, which was great because, you know, she got to do something that she wanted to do.
That was my question, will that work for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about reproductive stuff? Because they say flaxseed oil can.
No.
Okay.
I have not had any problem with dogs or bitches having any problems with reproduction. You're going to find that with reproduction, one of the biggest things is going to eliminate dogs from having litters or reduce the number of puppies in litters is the environment that they're in. Because they will not bring life into a negative environment. And so I've spent years going to different zoos and different facilities and filming abnormal repetitive behavior. You'll find that some of those zoos that have dog or animals that are doing things like that, they cannot produce any offspring at these zoos. Is that your hand going up or just a treat for me?
Your Frito twist.
Am I supposed to stack? Or? Pumpkin, if you're showing dogs, traveling with dogs, if you have a dog, that's something that you want with you all the time. On Amazon, they have these cool new little packets of pumpkin, so you don't have to open up a big old giant container of pumpkin, can of pumpkin from your store. And if your dog starts to get loose stool, this will help get that stool back to where it needs to be. Yes.
You can also get powdered pumpkin now.
Powdered pumpkin, yeah. These are some things that will help. And if your dog is really having a problem, obviously you want to go to the vet and find out what's going on. But I will normally, if I have a consistent problem with the dog, I will normally go to brown rice, cook the brown rice, and give it that as a meal source for a little while and calm things down, and with the pumpkin. Because a lot of things can happen at the shows. They can pick up all kinds of nasty
Like, how
things.
much pumpkin would you get? Like, half?
So for you, you would be like 3/4 of a teaspoon. Yeah. Brewer's yeast.
You give
Brewer's
too much.
yeast is fantastic for skin, coat, and nails. So unfortunately, a lot of this stuff that helps different things out will help that nail growth too. So that means you're gonna have to do nails more frequently. Papaya, which we've already talked to, canned mackerel, which we've already talked about, and again, you can give that amount as a recommended dose, but I usually end up giving just a little bit more. That's a little starter. Even like with food, it'll say feed this breed or this amount, but you have to fluctuate that depending on the exercise that it's getting. Chicken necks and turkey necks, duck necks. Oh, these are fantastic for dogs to make sure they have those beautiful white teeth, because they bite into where the bone and cartilage is in there, and it knocks all that plaque off. What I want to do for chicken necks, duck necks, or turkey necks is I cut these up with some like pruning shears into a bite-sized piece that is the width of the muzzle of the dog. And I don't want them too small because then they'll just swallow it whole. So I always go muzzle width when I'm cutting these for my dogs. And you will have the most beautiful bright white teeth when you're feeding
So
these.
is that like just chicken necks that you get at the grocery
Yes,
store?
yeah, and if you go to your butcher at your grocery store and say, I want to order chicken necks or duck necks or turkey necks, they can order them for you, but they'll probably order like a case at a time. And you just keep them frozen.
Do you eat them raw or cooked?
Raw.
Raw, okay.
There's
Yeah.
My Pet Carnivore. You can get them around here. They're a raw supplier.
I was just afraid all them bones and stuff in there, or whatever they are,
That's-
cartilages.
Well, think about, what does a wolf eat?
Mhm.
What does a cheetah eat?
Yeah, but
What
these
does a
are
lion eat?
domesticated animals.
They can digest them if you do not cook them.
Yes.
If you cook them, they become bread.
You can cook them if you are pressure cooking them, and they turn to all like mush. But if you were to fry or bake or anything like that, they become brittle and splinter.
Yeah. I get late 5/4 in the morning. Oh.
Yeah.
Crunch, 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 crunch.
When I had a Dutch Shepherd, that his most fun of the day would be a downstay at the end of this yard, which was like a little further than the corner of that building. And I would release him, and I'd have a set of tongs where I would hold up a chicken breast with bone in it. And he would fly through the air and grab that, and you would hear the power of those jaws crunch that bone when he hit that. And he had a blast. He got one of those a day.
I will use a meat grinder for young puppies though.
Yes.
So then, chicken neck,
Uh-huh.
cut it in little pieces.
Right. The
How
width
many
of the
pieces?
muscle.
How many pieces? One?
Well, it depends on how long the neck is. So if your
I
muzzle,
mean, how many pieces do you feed?
One.
One.
yeah, just one a day.
Okay.
So yeah, I was thinking, how many pieces do you get out of the neck? Well, if you have a chicken with a neck that long, you're gonna get a lot of pieces. Yeah, you just give them that piece, that portion. That's what the portion is right there. Whatever the width of the muzzle, you give them that each day.
Mine goes to bed every night with a greenie between their teeth. This will be cheaper and better.
Better, definitely better there too.
They'll like it better.
Greenies are, when they first came out, dogs, again, that was like puppy crack. Those dogs go nuts over that. I saw some handlers actually use greenies as bait in the ring because the dogs went so crazy for it, but they actually were starting to develop some intestinal problems with those. Not all dogs, but some of them were having some problems with them, so.
Yeah, I've tried brushing the
So-
teeth. That's not working.
Yeah, so he gets his tooth brushed every day, so. Or what he has left in there.
Yeah.
Bragg's apple cider vinegar, you can go to their website and spend a couple of days learning all the benefits from that.
They got bought out.
Did they really? Oh. But Bragg,
Got bought out.
somebody
Got
bought
bought
them out. Somebody was smart. Hopefully they don't ruin it.
Yeah.
But that stuff is just absolutely phenomenal, and you're going to squirt that right in their mouth. You're not gonna put it in their water or anything else. You're gonna squirt that right in their mouth. And that stuff is just absolutely amazing for any yeast buildup, skin conditions, anything like that. This stuff is phenomenal. And like I said, you can read all the benefits of what you get out of that too. Yeah, it's really good for
How
you.
much do you drink?
Well, she would be more of a large, no.
Oh.
Yeah, you get that like that. Okay, so we talked a little bit about nutrition. We talked a little bit about, eye contact, things like that. Now we're gonna get to the fun part of it, conditioning your mind. Your mind is going to dictate how your performance goes out there. You have to have fun with this. You have to have a good time with this. If you had a bad day at work or a bad day, well, I guess in Kentucky, a bad day driving on the road, then you go train your dog, it's not gonna be a good training session. My favorite thing is to look for cool stuff at Walmart when we go. I go to the kids section and find things that will amuse me. Here's one thing here where I found something kind of cool and amusing.
Got it? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna roll the dice. It says one time. One more. Oh, I got boo-boo.
I saw this at Walmart. Yeah, I knew I had to have this. And Dawn just shakes her head when I'm doing stuff like
Oh
that.
my God.
But that right there, yeah, can you imagine that poor woman, she's gotta live with this. But that's the stuff that just makes me happy and keeps me going. And then Michael sees Dad up there with a big smile on his face and knows we're gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
And that's the way your dog needs to be with you. If you are serious and you are not about fun and you're worrying about stuff and things like that, that is not the time to spend with your dog. Later on, if you are worried and you want to dump all that emotional trash on your dog, give him a big hug, let that energy leave your body and recharge yourself so you can go play. Michael knows when I'm down. He knows when something's hurting. And it's funny, he'll just jump on the bed, lay down on my knee, put his head right here on my neck or something like that if I'm totally exhausted and wipe, and he'll recharge my batteries. But if I'm gonna do a training session with him, he's gotta have me at 200%. That's the way it's gotta be. Right, Don? Sure.
Oh, the corgis.
Yeah. I'm telling them about our adventures at Walmart when we go.
You know, I found a Barbie dog trainer and got it because it was fun.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the other thing too is we talked about hobbies before. You've got to keep it fresh. You can't sit there and have your dog as your whole life, because if you do, that's just too much. That's too smothering. You've got to go out and do what you need to do to keep you motivated. I love photography. Ever since I got my first professional camera when I was 5 years old, it was a Minolta SRT 101. It filmed, and ever since then, at school, they used to notify me every time there was going to be a good fight, because I would capture that, and people would get good images of fights and stuff. I worked for news crews. I worked for bands, movie stills, all kind. But wildlife photography has been my favorite. Yes.
Your photo that you put up on Facebook, what was that group of? Because I saw it said press and stuff. So what
Oh,
group
that was I used to film the World Dog Show, and that was the World Dog Show, and that was the one that was in Leipzig, Germany.
Okay.
And I used to film Crufts, I used to film Westminster, all that stuff. Now, not anymore. Wildlife photography is my biggest thing, but that